Let's
Hello.
not keep the people waiting. Let's not keep the people waiting.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to. Oh, what the hell is going on? I hear. Oh, I was looking at myself on YouTube on my other computer. That's crazy. That was crazy. Anyway, all right. Took care of that problem. So, welcome to another
Awesome.
episode of Ask the Question. Ask the Question. In today's topic, we're just going. It's just casual dialogue.
Yep.
We're not.
Flowing with it today.
Yeah, we're just flowing with it. We flow with it every day. We go like water. So on today, we're going to be talking about shadow work and intentional habits, how to improve intentionality. So this is a future blog article that we're going to talk about, in which we talk about the 10 habits for an intentional life. And I'm just going to read just a little bit of it so that we're on the same page here. All right. So shadow work and intentionality, shadow work and habit forming. How does shadow work apply to intentionality and be intentional about life? Hannah, how you feeling today, by the way?
I'm all right. How are you?
I am excited, slightly anxious, but excited. So what does your all right mean? Because I have no idea what that translates emotionally to.
Oh. um, I'm just doing all right. I'm feeling okay. Not particularly excited. I'm here for it. So.
We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna use
Yeah. Sorry,
emotions. But don't
people.
worry, you and
This
I, we're gonna work on that. And
pregnant lady life. Everything it's just one day at a time. So.
there we go. Which is why this will be probably our final. Well, I say final. Nothing is final, but this will be the last episode for a while. Unless I bring somebody on and I'm the host,
Yeah.
because we're gonna take a little hiatus so that Hannah can
Yeah.
rest, prepare for this new life.
I think this is a good topic to wrap this up on because we can talk about why shadow work and all of the principles around shadow work. But I am a like, let's take some actions, let's implement some stuff, let's figure out what we actually can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I think doing and being have to coexist together for us to really get anything out of anything.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I got you. And also, before we begin, I just want to say, people show up late to the scene, but I'm gonna do it right now. Uh, I just want to say to Chad, gone but not forgotten, Wakanda forever. All right,
The straw.
that sip was for him. That sip was for him. Anyway, 10 habits for an intentional life. All right. So, habits are repeated action or unconscious patterns of behavior, and they affect all areas of life. So, I'm going to go straight into the 10 habits. First one for an intentional life now. Well, let me define intentionality. An intentional life is one where we carefully choose what to do and how we do it in order to achieve certain goals. Let me repeat that again. An intentional life is one where we carefully choose what to do. Hannah, you talking about what to do, what to do, what to do, where we carefully choose what to do and how to do it in order to achieve certain goals. All right. It is a purposeful life. Needless to say, one needs to be principled. That's a need to be principled as we seek to live an intentional life. So, number one, self introspection. I want to remove that introspection, which is to make it a habit to do a self check, to understand what stumbling blocks we may not be realizing, what frequency we on in a certain time and space. That's one of the habits of an intentional life. Because when you ask the question, you gotta know what question is being asked here. You said what to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Who's asking that question? Let's go there. Who's asking that question?
I'm so sorry. You cut out for a second, and now I'm not sure what we're talking about.
Oh, my bad, my bad. I said you asked what to do, right? Like
Yeah.
you're big on what to do.
Hmm.
So who's asking that? Like what do you mean what to do? What to do with what? What is it that you're seeking to do?
I don't know how to answer that. I'm asking. I don't know
So
how to answer that question.
so so here we go. Here we go with that. And I understand. I know where you're at this time of
I don't
day.
know where
You
you're
know,
going here.
yeah. No, there's with this time of day, I understand. And I know you got a lot of things going on, but basically, you got to know what you're seeking for in order to formulate the question. You because you're asking to do something. In that doing, you're asking, what goals should I set for myself? Well, goals can't stand alone. They must be attached to values. So what value needs to be expressed at this point in time, which gives you direction. And then you do in that direction. Whatever's in that direction for you to do, that's what you do. But what value is most important right now? Now, again, I know, some fog there right now because of the time of day. But if you knew what value, if you tuned in, if you took the time, this is where introspection is important. Shadow work, again, light work, going in, getting in tune with the wisdom of your body, which will never lie to you, and asking what is most important, what should be most significant for me right now. And significant, the difference between importance and significant is that significance is the quality of being worthy of attention. What is most worthy of my attention right now? So you're seeking to see what should be most significant or prioritized, right?
Okay, but you're talking in the context of values, so can you explain that further? Because
So
for me, like I'm looking, I'll just share how my brain operates. Here's my list of things I need to do. What one thing is the most important thing I need to do right now? But you're talking about values, which is something completely different than
exactly.
doing things. So yeah, help me understand that.
Why do we okay? Why do we even do, Hannah? What is the
Anything?
purpose? Huh?
Do anything?
Yes. Why do we do anything?
Um, that's a really great question. I don't know.
That's but this is it. You're saying I'm talking about values, you're talking about doing as if
Yeah.
they're different, they're
Mm,
separate and as opposed to interwoven.
yeah.
You have to think about what it is that you're doing because you could just be doing things detached from your values
Yeah.
and then live your entire life and then die with regrets on your bed because you did not live a values based life. Therefore, you did not experience any true fulfillment in your life. And then you think about all the doing that you did, and then you wonder, none of this makes sense. Why didn't I continue this over here? I really love doing this. I really enjoyed when this happened. I really had a passion for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually on people's deathbed that they begin to think about these things. But essentially, what they're saying is that this is from beingness, from their heart center. This is who I am. This is what reigns true the most for me in this place. Why did I not do more of that?
Yeah.
I don't do without looking at my value. The value that's being expressed right now is my value of allowing myself to be seen and speaking life via the algorithm that I see it. Where for majority of my life I've hid my voice. Now I choose to allow myself to be seen, aligning my aura with my decision, my choice, my experience, my desired experience to be seen and to be understood and heard.
Mm-hmm.
It's very intentional what I'm doing right now. There's so much I could be doing. I could be working on my private practice, which definitely demands my attention. I could be spending time with family. I could be watching Netflix, scratching my ass. There's so many different things I could choose to do right now. Why choose to have a live YouTube show
Mm.
with Hannah from Canada during this time and talk about specifically shadow work and the 10 habits of an intentional life? Why do that? A, also, I want to brand myself as a person who understands shadow work. So the foolishness stops. So that people that think that they're doing shadow work could know that they're not actually doing shadow work. They're not really doing real introspection. So there's some truth that needs to be in that space of charlatans, of people who's taking advantage of people's ignorance. So, and I've never enjoyed seeing people being bullied. So there go another value that's being expressed, that I want to protect the vulnerable. I want to protect those who do not know. And so that also is propelling me forward to be in this space. All of this, what I'm doing right now, is very intentional and it's definitely connected to every last one of my values. Well, not every last one, but most of my values are being expressed in this space. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
that makes sense.
So, how do you choose specifically what to do? Like, how did I conjure up the idea of choosing to ask the question? Well, I was thinking about how could I allow my voice to be heard a little bit more and people get to understand and know me a little bit more. So, and I know that I'm activated by like questions because,
Mm-hmm.
people always ask me questions. So I say, why not just try a show, see what happens, called Ask the Question. Have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, nobody said, I'm going to give you $1 million if you start a show. You're going to get all of these fans if you start a show. It's going to be a really great idea to start this show. Like, but my value, all right, to connect, that's there. And this is one of the possibilities. I thought this may be a possibility for me to express that value. So I just chose and I did and I'm doing. And I'm going to continue to do it until this choice is too small for me and I choose another choice. I make another choice. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
So then ask the question.
Oh man, so much pressure. This is supposed to be a casual conversation.
Mm.
Yeah.
But introspection is number one. And definitely, if
Yes.
you get a chance, I think I just sent it to you. Check out the whatever that app we use. And the number two one, the second one is recite your life goals. And let me read this out loud.
Okay.
Well, of course, I'm gonna read it out loud. How else am I read it? I'm gonna read it to
Yeah,
myself.
just read it in your head and
Yeah.
everybody can guess what we're talking about.
Recite your life goals. This reminds you where each plan for the day is meant to take you. Remind yourself what you want to achieve every now and then. In other words, keep your eyes on the goal to avoid wasting time on things that do not bring value to your life.
Mm-hmm.
Do not waste time on things that do not bring value to your life.
Yes.
Again, there's no disconnection between doing and value. So reciting your life goals, basically, this is where in the space where affirmations can also be served. You got something? You want to say something?
No, I mean, I was just going to say, yeah, this is something that I do on a regular basis personally. And just kind of going back and seeing if what I want out of life, if I'm still on track with that, if the things that I'm doing line up with that. And I think one of the most important things for me, because I'm someone that naturally will take on a lot of things and say yes to a lot of things, are there places where I need to start saying no, which I think is actually the next point of this. But but
Mm-hmm.
it all goes together. So yeah, I think that just looking at what you want out of your life, and this is something advice that I've given to my siblings many times when they're trying to make decisions. Try to
Mm-hmm.
think about what you want a year from now, 5 years from now, and that can change as well. It's totally fine for that to change and realign with your values and yeah, what's going on in your life. So yeah.
So you and I talking. The reciting of your life goals, it reminds you of the direction that you need to be moving into. The direction that you're moving in. That's the reciting. And also the experience that you've chosen. Again, goals and values.
Mm-hmm.
Values being the direction, goals is you set goals to assist you in understanding what progress you're making in that
Yes.
direction. Because there's a deeper level there's a deeper experience waiting for you. It's not just I experience this value in this space and that's it. No, you can go deeper than that. Again, just like layers of the earth, look at the physical surrounding, and if you understand the physical laws, you understand that there are layers of the earth's crust, and you go deep enough, we all reach the same center, but we have to continue to go deeper. That's why the introspection is needed. That's why the reciting of the life goals is needed, because it's too easy to get lost in this place of business. We get scared, we get tired, we get fatigued, we get mommy brain. If that is that what you called it, mommy brain? What you called it?
Yeah, that's what people call it.
Oh, what you called it?
I don't
Whatever you
know.
call it, the brain when you're not thinking clear, whatever. We get these things, and then that brings us out of this place where we feel comfortable, and from that place of not feeling safe, we then lose our space and our place, our understanding of self, and then we become more fractured in thought. We're not really paying attention to our values, to what matters the most to us,
Yeah.
because we're in survival mode, fight or flight now. And so
Yeah.
now we're responding to our environment as if it has more authority and more power than our internal world.
Yeah. So I think to try to like simplify that because introspection is It's not a big word, but um, it might not be something like people really totally understand or can relate to right off the bat. I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong there. But back to that first point, like it's so what we're more saying is just like self check in, being aware. Am I in line with what's important to me, or am I just responding to everything around me?
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
basically the simplest way
yeah,
that
and
I can think of describing that. So hopefully that helps, like helps to clarify the first point.
yeah, and if you don't get it, just sit there and ask yourself why.
Yeah. Why is
That's it.
a
If
very
you need
powerful
something, if you need
question.
to, yeah, huh?
I said why? Well, yeah, why is a great question to ask yourself often.
Yeah, that's it. If you need a
Yeah.
simple instruction, ask yourself why.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't, okay, I'm trying to find out what to do. I don't understand the difference between, I don't know how values are connected to what to do. Why? Why? And then go deeper in that why. Like actually go searching for that why. Because I can sit here and be frustrated as to why I don't know that why, and then sit in stagnation. Or I can choose to go find an answer for that why. And no doubt I will find the answers to that why and find answers to other whys that then connect all of these whys I've been asking myself. But if you don't ask yourself why, then you can't do the work.
Yeah.
I can break it
Right.
down even more simpler.
No, we're good. I think so. We were on just going through this.
Recite your life goals, say
Yeah, I was
no.
gonna say this is not written. We're gonna have to do some blog editing
Yeah, yeah, no, because I don't say
I
say
cannot
no.
read this very well. Yeah, so self introspection was the first thing. Recite your life goals was the point that we were just on, which yeah, I definitely think is super valuable for people to do. Like, how often do you think people should do this? Like, at a minimum.
Oh, every day. One
Okay.
second.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. I think every day. And I'm sorry, Leah, I see you now. Thank you so much. I did not have the comments on. I see you.
Oh
Leah
yeah, I
says
know. I'm
she
on
loves this
full screen.
conversation. But first, we need to know our passion, what brings joy, not living
Mm-hmm.
others' expectations. Thank
Yeah.
Leah. I see you. Keep on throwing those comments in here because we're going to respond to those comments. I
Yes.
got you. But what were
I
you saying?
totally, yeah. Well, I'll just respond to this. I totally agree. Like knowing what your passion, what excites you, what really brings joy to your life, which really also goes back to like what your values are. So I like to, yeah, go through and just kind of think of like what's important to me, what really matters, what am I excited about. Um, I love the question as well, like that you can ask yourself, if if I had $1 million in the bank and money was no thing, would I still be doing what I'm doing? For a lot of people, I think that that's no. But on the flip side of that is like, what would I be doing if I could do anything right now? And I think
So
that that helps to like dig up kind of the things that you're passionate about as well.
now this is going to be hard. I know for some. This may sound hard for some, but I'm going to say you have to develop the skill of getting outside of your mind.
Mm.
Because even the question you pose could be a distraction of the mind. It doesn't sound like it would be, but before you go on with the thinking of the mind, first ask yourself how you feel, because that's the most relevant thing.
Yeah.
Your body's not going to lie to you. So, my whys typically revolve around how I feel today. If it's anxiety, why? If it's sadness, why? If it's excitement, why? You know,
Yeah.
and then if I need to go further, I'll dig further, or maybe that's all the work that's needed, and then I just move about my day with the plans, but always checking in with the body, which is the true lie detector test. Checking in with the body to make sure that y'all on the same page, y'all on the same frequency. So when you ask that question, if your body feels a certain kind of way about you asking yourself that question, maybe you need to stew on whether that's the right question to be asking yourself.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm just yeah. Just a
Please.
suggestion of where you can start with trying to find that if you're asking yourself like why am I doing these things, I can't even really figure that out, then I think it's a good place to start digging into that of like what am I really passionate and excited about, and then also tuning into your body. If there's like resistance or it feels really uncomfortable to even like think about that, then yeah, that's definitely something that you need to like dig deeper into.
Yes, yes. And Leah, she said that that takes courage
Mm-hmm.
exploring our self emotions. Yes. And it does. That's the thing. That's why I say shadow work is for everybody, but shadow work is only for a few, the courageous few. You know, it because it is a challenge. And it doesn't feel good all of the time. You know, oftentimes it doesn't feel good. It feels uncomfortable. But to tune into that discomfort, because that discomfort is there to get your attention for a reason. This is answering the why as well, tuning into that discomfort and asking yourself why. You know, if I come frustrated on the show, for example, I'm asking myself why, but I have to be aware that I'm frustrated first, and my body's not going to lie to me about that frustration or that tension. So then I ask myself why, you know, and then I tune into that. And is this upset, this feeling, does how does it serve me, and where does it come from? Does it represent a value? It typically does not. It usually represents some fear or some want that I refuse to let go of, and that which we resist persists, therefore creating my own self-chosen suffering in that space. Nothing can deter my peace. Nothing can give me peace but myself, and nothing can deter my peace unless I surrender my peace to the external world. So why am I not at peace? Why? That's it. That's it. The doing has to do with the what. So yeah, a lot of us are asking what, but we need to first begin with the why.
Hmm.
What why is connected to that what? What is connected to what why? All right. So
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, like with the question that I said, like, what would I be doing with my time if I could do whatever I wanted? That's the what. But it's, yeah, equally important to dig into the why. But starting with that question might be an easier entry point to then start digging into the why, depending
Mhm.
on who you are, depending on who you are and how comfortable you are with and confident, in knowing that stuff, or if you're just starting out. So you need
Yes.
both. You need both is the point.
Yes, and I'll say this, and Lee, I'm gonna get to your comment in a second. And I'll say this: that's where again a meditation practice comes into play. Oh, understanding, becomingoutlier.com/understanding. That's INNER standing. I put out a new meditation subscription, so y'all check me out, support me. There's a lot of meditations programs out there, and great programs out there. But if you get a chance, support me. Now, meditation is a great place to begin,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can have some clarity on
Yeah.
what it is that basically that you have a choice to make today, you know. And so what I am will serve you today. What choice, what I am, who should I be? Like what experience am I calling for today? And preparing yourself for that. If I wake up, we don't realize, but we always choosing the I am. So if I wake up and I say I am miserable, I am tired, I don't want to do this, I don't want to go there, I don't want to, that's the I am that I've chosen. I am the person who don't want what we have, which then makes us miserable. So then I am miserable. But just like I am miserable, I've also experienced states of I am happiness, I am joy, I am excitement. So these I ams continually shift. And erroneously, the brain attaches these I ams as being dependent on the external environment because these eyes look out. Remove that blockage from the pineal gland and begin to look inward. And you begin to see that we are the I behind the I am, and that I can choose a new I am if the I am I've chosen in this moment does not serve me. I am frustrated. How does that serve me in this moment? Of being able to connect to my crowd, of being able to articulate how I feel and think. It does not serve me. So I have to rid myself of that I am to choose a new I am that actually serves me. I am growing, you know, and I'm doing the best I can. And even when I stumble, I still stumble forward. These things. So Leah said, how do you deal with the deeper trauma feelings that can come up when exploring? This excavation unsupported can be hyperreactive. Support needed. Yes, do it carefully. Yes, most certainly. So how do you deal with the deeper trauma? Well, first off, I would suggest that you do it with a professional. I wouldn't suggest that you do it by yourself. And again, not giving any therapeutic advice here, but do it with a professional. What I've learned, and which is why I moved into this space, is that people don't give a damn about doing it with a professional. They're still going to do it by themselves anyway. So somebody who has some sense, who actually knows how to do it, should be talking to them and guiding them some kind of way. you know and it's not just my responsibility or my honor. I'm sure there's other people that's also going to move into this space as well, but there need to be people who know these things, and they need to come out and represent. Okay, so
Right.
get a professional. If you're not going to deal with a professional, find someone that you trust. There's so many online programs. Find someone that resonates with you and begin to listen to what they're talking about. Begin to explore. If they recommend books, begin to read the books that they read. Because you have to, when you don't know, you have to feed your mind new information, so that it can create more. And also know where you're at, because if you're in a fight or flight state, it's going to be very hard to think of new possibilities because you're in your lowest frequency. When you have to, the meditation is great for returning to the window of tolerance, and in that window of tolerance, now you can move from the left side of your brain that's concerned with self-preservation to the right side of your brain, where most new innovators and creators, that's where they really come up with these ideas. So know that you can pull from nothingness. You are a creator, but you have to allow yourself the clarity, the space, and the freedom to do so. So how do you explore these deeper traumas? You go as far as you can. If you're doing it by yourself, you go as far as you can and tolerate as much as you can, and then you stop, and then you go back. Again, when I ask myself questions, for me, the physical world has always spoken to me, even as a child. And so the physical is a manifestation of spiritual truths for me. When I begin working out, I can only lift 135. I mean, like 135 barbell on each side of the bar, but I became stronger. I did as much as I could and kept doing it consistently. That's the thing. It's a lifestyle. Whatever art form you choose in life, it is a lifestyle. Self mastery is a lifestyle. You have to dedicate yourself to it day in and day out. So I continued to work out, and then I got stronger because of that resistance. There's no growth without resistance. And then once I got strong enough, I noticed I needed more resistance to become even stronger. So with shadow work, it's the same thing. You go as far as you can tolerate, and then you move on back. And then you go, and you may go to that same spot again, and then you move on back. But you don't stop. You don't stop, because eventually you're going to go a little bit further, and then you're going to have to pull back. And then you go all the way up to that point, and then you pull back. Remember that happiness is not a destination to be reached, it's the way we travel. A life of fulfillment is a life of living. It's moment to moment. So even in our pain, we can experience life if we accept it, if we're willing to embrace what's here in front of us, and let go of what it is that we wanted, our expectations, our don't wants. If we let go of our wants altogether and just be present for this moment, we can see exactly what's here before us. And it's much better than what we've been holding on to. You still with me, Hannah? Because you're
I'm
still as a
here.
statue. I don't know. I don't know where you at.
Yeah, well, we're monologuing there, so I was just waiting.
Hey,
But
look,
it's all
I'm
good. It's all
jump on
good.
in here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's all it's all good stuff. I lose track, and then I just listen, and then yeah, and we get to this point that I'm like, all right, where were we?
So that right there, the ability to focus is also a skill that's needed. Now, again, you have things going on. That's, this is mess with your focus, but the ability to focus, focus is to put your attention in a specific point in time for an extended period of time. Focus, that has to be developed. And in today's society, where we have all these smart gadgets, and you answering this cell phone, like my cell phone literally just started ringing as I was talking about that. You're answering this cell phone over here. I have two phones. You got stuff in your ear, you got stuff on your hand that's alerting you to this, and then you got stuff, yelling at you, and you're thinking about all these different things. So we practice being distracted daily, and so then we become senseis of not being, not focusing. And in that space, then we go into believing that we have ADHD, which is why there's this influx of adults who believe that they have ADHD, when in reality, they just are skilled at being distracted. A good bit of them. How can you have something you never practiced? Yep, that's a
Hopefully,
pause.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna just bring us back to this
Bring us
the
back.
habits because yeah, I'm not sure where we're going with this at this point.
Hmm. Oh, we just running it.
So we're just going. So we're talking about reciting our life goals, which you think that we should do every day. Um, the next point on
It says say no.
is say no.
Yeah, it says say no. It says learn to say no, which I'm going to change that out. Learn to say no to anything that is not in alignment with your goals. This includes saying no to your desires, your friends, and everyone else. Teach them to respect your routine and working time, and that your interests and goals matter too. And do not embrace excuses that help you feel comfortable in your weaknesses. So for me, I don't have to teach anybody anything. It's not my place to teach anybody anything. They're on their own journey. So that's one I would switch that out. And instead of saying no, which the word no is attuned with wanting to protect oneself, instead of moving from that space of defense where we have to keep our arms like this, I would much rather be in a state of gratitude where I could receive life. So I say yes. I say yes to acknowledging where the limits, where my boundaries lie, where the limits of my territory are. I say yes to that. I say yes to things that are connected to my value. I say yes to spending my time on things that fulfill me. That's if you fill your space up with enough value based yeses, you'll never have to say no, or rarely. I mean, I don't even have the opportunity to really say no to many people because I'm so busy doing my own thing that really all I get is missed messages. And now with the spam, I get like 20 spam calls a day, and so now that really gave me a reason not to answer my phone.
The spammers are bad these days. I get one almost every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Apparently, I've got drugs at the border, and there's a warrant out for my arrest.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Anyways,
yeah. Craziness.
um, I agree, but personally disagree because I do need to say no to things sometimes. I, like I said, I'm definitely somebody who opportunities I believe are abundant, and that shows up in my life. Not all opportunities excite me, and so for me personally, I need to, when I am asked to do things or I have opportunities to do things or to work with certain, work on certain projects and certain people, sometimes I do have to say no.
Yeah.
And that is, yeah, that is also, I think, a skill that needs to be developed.
But that's usually because a person doesn't know. We have there's a time and place for everything. There'll be a time where you'll say more no's than yeses, but as you continue along your journey, you'll realize that you'll be in a space of just saying more yeses than anything else. The no and the yes is really us trying and experiencing life and saying, yes, this represents me, this represents my truth. No, this does not represent my truth. So yes, those no's will be there, and we need to know what is not our truth, and we need to move away from that space. But as you continue to the skill of living authentically, you align yourself with so many yeses now, that really people know you for that person. Like right now, I'm branding myself as the shadow work guy or whatever. Well, now all of the people, all the invitations, after a certain period of time, they'll be calling me specifically for shadow work. Well, I've already said yes to this. So now I just got everybody. What I did intentionally was work to make sure that everybody would stare at the yes that I said. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. I'm just saying, in my own life and context, I also
Yes.
need to say no to things.
Yeah, definitely,
And I
definitely.
think that many people are also at that point as well.
Yes, yes.
Practicing intentional living. We don't do all of that automatically right now
No,
at this stage.
no. You'll never do it automatically. You do it deliberately.
Yeah,
A life of authenticity is a deliberate life.
yeah.
Many
You
of us
do
wake
it.
up. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. You got it.
I do agree though, yeah, with like teaching people. I don't like that part of this of teaching people to
Mm-mm.
respect your routine and time and stuff. That's not really the best way to
No,
put it. Because yeah, it's not your responsibility to teach people anything. It's your
no.
responsibility to just yeah, self-govern and say those yeses or those nos. But yeah.
Yes. Yes. And on that same plane, while it's not our responsibility to teach the other, it is, we are learning from the other,
Yeah.
you know? So on the flip side, pay attention for what lessons are to be learned from the other, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're not, the role is not to be the teacher, but we are there to learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So they're teaching by just being and doing. By Hannah asking, okay, yeah, what to do? That's you being you. And I'm learning things based off of that. I am.
Yeah.
Now we can explore later, about what it is I learned because I can go into that, but I won't go off on a tangent. But there's a lot to learn when you're paying attention.
Hmm.
You
All
know,
right.
the most, our language 80% unspoken. So if you're really being aware, mm, you can learn a lot from the other. I'm just saying. So the next one of again, we talk about habits of an intentional life, and Leah mentioned also. You mentioned get creative or activity, the creative side of the brain. So art therapy, dance, stretches. Yes, yes. Both sided body movements. Yes, yes. All of these things are great tools. To also release that trapped energy so that you can have more clarity. Thank you for that. So draw a lesson from each challenge you face.
Hmm.
Draw a lesson from each challenge you face. Number 4, challenges happen for a reason. They could be a form of miscalculation or from external forces. Regardless of the cause, there's always something to learn from them. These range from misunderstandings to failed businesses. Identify opportunities to where when possible. So draw a lesson. Again, I've said this before. The past is for reference, not residence. We learn. We don't take losses. We take lessons. So in that space of frustration, it's not for us, to at least judge ourselves for being in a state of frustration because then that's the activity of the mind. But rather sit with that. Okay, look at the challenge. I'm frustrated. Why am I frustrated? You're looking at the challenge that you're connecting that with, but then understand that the challenge is just the details. It's really my interpretation that's really driving this emotional experience. That's another skill that you have to understand, another knowing that you have to remember when you're doing the introspection. Know that you are not your thoughts and that your emotional experience is directly connected to your interpretation of what's happening and not the happening itself. You smile. Do I need to say that again or do I need to change how I said that?
No. Go ahead.
Okay.
So as you say all these things, I'm always trying to like connect it to experiences or like make it relevant to my life. So that's why sometimes I'm smiling about things.
It's a good thing. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
It's a good
Not all of
says
those
my
things need to
mind.
be shared on a live YouTube stream. So I'm not gonna, where relevant, I will absolutely share
The
my
backstage is backstage. It's
my.
backstage talk.
Okay, okay. So smiling and nodding. Just
All right.
I
But
encourage you all to try to integrate it into your own life experiences.
you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's your life experience that it's just another form of that energy. But
Mm-hmm.
drawing a lesson from the challenges you face, understanding that in that space of leaning into your discomfort, that pain, understand why that pain is there. If pain is on your doorstep, no doubt some things like the loss of parents and loved ones and so on and so forth, you will not escape life without experiencing certain pains. But the pains of choosing something, that you believed in, and then that didn't go through,
Mm-hmm.
or trying and supposedly failing, like these things, leaning into the discomfort of those things, because what you understand over time is that you can't succeed without failing. And so where you've once judged yourself for all the many failures, at one failure, you're gonna have one failure where it clicks. It's like I've been judging myself this whole time for all these failures, and I done learned so much from all of this. Oh my goodness! Like I think I can start a business with all of these failures, all the knowledge I learned from all of these failures. I think I can start a new business. And then that business takes off. Not even realizing that the entire time you thought you was failing, you was actually winning.
Yep.
It's just that you didn't have what it is that you thought that you wanted at the time, but life was giving you what you needed all the while because
Mm.
life conspires in your favor always.
Yep.
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 Amen. You said amen from the choir. That's what you're doing over there. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you want to say something on that?
No, I agree with all of that. Yeah.
All right.
We
You want
already
to take number
had
5?
lessons. Yeah, sure. Okay, listen more and talk less is the next point. So, when you learn to listen more, you learn more from others. You do not only get valuable information related to your dreams, but you also understand them better and improve relationships. Listening also gives you enough time to think before you talk or react, and helps you understand the contents of a discussion and lessens the chances of a misunderstanding or conflict.
Well,
Yeah.
what you got on that? You got anything?
Um, well, first off, the lessening a chance of a misunderstanding. We've talked about this before, and you've talked about it on your podcast. But like being on the same page about what you are talking about by literally looking at the definition of something, I think is a good thing to do. To be like, this is what we are talking about. Um, yeah, listening before you react, good skill to have to live intentionally for sure. It's very easy to react,
Well,
to
again,
let things sort of, take themselves over.
the higher self responds, doesn't react.
Mm-hmm.
But listen more and talk less. Many of you heard we have again the laws. Looking at the physical to understand some spiritual truths. We have um, 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means we ought to listen twice as much as we speak. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You know, and listening in itself, if you can listen. First off, many of us don't listen. We only wait for our turn to be heard because we again have to calm ourselves. A lot of us are walking around rattled all day long and don't even realize it. Just in a chronic state of anxiety. It's chronic fight or flight state. And in that state, it's going to be very difficult for you to listen to the other because you don't care at that point because you're all stuck
Yeah.
in how you feel. You're all fractured. So you're in this space of what I actually call selfishness because you're not quite yourself. You're there, but you're not all the way there. And so in that space, you're not listening at all. So don't even you just move on with life. Don't even try to listen at that point. Unless you know how to self-regulate. But when you develop the skill of self-regulation and return to the window of tolerance, now you can actually listen to the other because you're not threatened by the other. You're not going to listen to somebody you feel threatened by. When you begin to do the work, self-regulate, again, even if I sense a threat, I know that there's a difference between danger and fear. Danger is a reality, fear is a choice. Is there really any danger here? No. Am I experiencing fear? Yes. Am I going to respond to my fear? No. Right now I'm going to choose to listen. I'm going to be open to hearing what's being said. And in that space of listening, what you find is that the other person sounds just like you. If you listen hard enough, it doesn't matter if they're on the other side of the aisle. Their feelings, the emotions underneath, are the same as yours. It's just that y'all caught in the details and y'all fighting about the details, which don't really matter. Anyway, there's different layers. Listening is also a skill. Understanding the life of authenticity is a life of skillfully practicing living according to your values. Everything that we talk about is a skill. Like, I know how to listen. No, you don't. You have to work to. What classes have you taken on listening? Why? Because you've been listening to people talk all the time. You listen to the TV. You have to use your ears because you have to use. There's a difference between hearing and listening. There's a difference between doing something and doing something on purpose. There's a difference between waking up and waking up on purpose. There's a difference between going to sleep and going to sleep on purpose. There's a difference between going to work and going to work on purpose. You move differently when you move in purpose, and listening requires you to do it on purpose. Got anything, Hannah?
No, it's a skill I need to work on. So I'm just going to take that one and note it down.
All right. The next one is
Yeah. We're not perfect here.
No, 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 no. None of us
No,
are.
I
None of
mean,
us
there's
are.
like, obviously, there's things on. I mean, I've been doing inner work, mindset stuff for a few years, but yeah, there are certain things that I'm like, yeah, this is something I've actually put into my life as a practice, and there are definitely things that are like constant, like I constantly have to work on them. So just know that it's a
Look, let,
it's
let me say
practice.
this real quick. Let's be real because we already had
Mm-hmm.
47 minutes anyway. You know, we
Yeah.
normally stop around an hour. So let's be real. Let's look, we're gonna do a blog. Y'all gonna have this blog, and y'all get the rest of these anyway. The ones that we
Yeah.
went over were basically self introspection
Mm-hmm.
and recite your life goals. It's about living an intentional life, which is an intentional life is one where we carefully choose what to do and how we do it in order to achieve certain goals.
Yeah.
Now, something you said last that prompted me also to want to stop. What was the
Okay.
last thing you said?
It's practice.
The practicing part. Okay, yes, it's practice. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's why. So here's the thing. Notice how anytime we get together. Now, again, you're supposed to be so like when we started out. Ops director, strictly business, so on and so forth. And then you start talking to me, and I start talking in my weird language, and you're like, oh, aha, let me ask this dude some questions. Maybe. So over time, you begin to ask questions
Yeah,
because you saw that
I'm
I
trying
had
to
answers.
distill the information and the wisdom.
Wait, I'm sorry, say
Because
again.
I said I try to distill it down because it's very concentrated.
Stick, stick.
And yeah, we gotta make it accessible, you know.
Yes, yes. And at the same time,
The stuff is not always like I'll say this too, like you can hear something, and especially when it comes to like the shadow work and the stuff that we're talking about, you can hear it over and over again. And it might just be how someone says something one time where you're like, oh, I actually get what you're talking about. So, the difference between knowledge and knowing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. But even by attempting to know, you're forming new neural
Mm-hmm.
pathways and
Yeah.
acknowledging that there's something more to know.
Yeah,
So you still
exactly.
win. You don't have to come around with
Oh, no.
understanding it. You still win just by choosing to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, there's like that piece of repetition, and again, it just like it might be literally how it's worded in one book or one podcast or whatever, where you're like, oh, that makes so much sense, and I know I've heard this 20 times before.
Hmm.
And it could just be that one little thing where you're like,
It's
ah.
again, I've said this to my clients, and thank you, Leah, for
Yeah.
that. A live demonstration, she said, might be helpful, and she volunteered. We're gonna get to you about that later on because I actually wanted to reach out to you to bring you on the show for today, but I didn't get around to doing it. My bad. I was not deliberate or intentional in doing so. I will remedy that. But anyway, um, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, we'll have some guest spots opening up soon here.
Yeah, yeah. But
Future
what was the
Vikings.
last thing you said?
Yeah, we were just talking about how. Well, I was saying that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's it. I
it
got
could
it.
take just one thing to trigger it for you, but you are always like absorbing that, and it's still beneficial.
I looked at Wakanda Forever and I got it back. So understand that senseis, like dojos back in the day, we saw these movies back in the day. The students lived with their
Mm-hmm.
senseis. Like they practice daily, like the most discipline. Again, a life of authenticity, you have to skillfully practice. That requires discipline. When you look at people who are disciplined, they do it day in and day out. The samurai, they woke up day in and day out, whether it was war or peace. Even when they were told by the government they were no longer needed, they were still practicing because that's who they were. They said they made the I am statement, I am a warrior. And that's what they woke up and did every single day. So you have to continue to skillfully, day in and day out, be
Mm-hmm.
disciplined, about choosing what is most important to you in this space. What is it that you want to know? If you don't know something and you really care about knowing, don't sit with the frustration of not knowing and assume that you'll never know. Keep trying to know.
Yeah.
It's in that space that eventually you'll find it out. So with you, Hannah, for example, if you're around me all day, every day, not all day, because we get on each other's nerves if we do it all day, every day. But if you were around me enough, at least a few hours a day, you would rapidly get shadow work. It would be so quick for you because right now you're still fighting old neural pathways, and your mind will take the path of
Mm-hmm.
least resistance, and you have to forcefully trudge these new neural pathways. That takes deliberate action. And it's challenging. And it's going to continue to be a challenge until you repetition, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep
Yeah,
doing it. And the
definitely.
best way to teach somebody else is to teach it to yourself. The reason why I can flow a lot of the things that I've learned about mental health and whatnot, reason why I can flow the way I flow is that I've taken things that I was interested in and brought it to my practice. I'm interested in trauma, so licensed clinical social worker, became a traumatologist, even though I don't
Yeah.
do therapy here. You
Human
know,
design.
human design. Like I start to teach myself these things. By teaching other people and keeping it on my mind. There's a way that you can deal. You can teach yourself while earning money. You most certainly can.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's something I tell my clients, people I work with all the time is like 'cause you get a lot of people that are in their own heads about like, I don't have a certification, I'm not, an expert on this, whatever. You only have to be one or two steps ahead of somebody else to instill that value in them and show them that's the next place that they want to be and show them how to get there. So, yeah.
The weirdest thing happens is that you talk about the language and like the thickness. People not understanding. The language that I speak, and I go places like when I was on Clubhouse, and I don't know the name, but there was this other person reached out to me and they were like, "Your friends, somebody's following you," and they said the name of the person, and this person is some sort of spiritual guru, like really really deep spiritual guru, and he doesn't really follow anybody, but I only spoke a few times on Clubhouse, and he just happened to be there one time when I spoke, and he began following me, and so this other person reached out and was like, if he following you, I know you're the real deal, and so on and so forth. This has been my experience throughout life that only a few can actually understand my language. Like really, like I have to constantly repeat, break down, repeat, break down, repeat, break down. And every now and again, I come across some person who has been on the same journey I've been on and is hungry for that knowledge. Just they've been asking themselves the why, just like I have been, and they'll see me and they'll understand, you know. And but it takes deliberate work. You have to be intentional about it. You just have to understand that you're not here to merely exist. You're here to live. So ask you. It's not a waste of time to ask yourself those questions, to sit and explore yourself. Try to stand in front of the mirror for 5 minutes, and if you get disgusted with yourself, ask yourself why. Begin there. And I say if you get disgusted with yourself, and if you feel positive about yourself, I would also ask why, and remind yourself how long you've come, because at some point you look in that mirror and you no doubt hated yourself, and it happened for years, because it's the same for all of us. So if you're still looking in the mirror and hating yourself, ask yourself why. All right, what you got, Hannah?
Um, I was just skimming through to see if there was any other points that I wanted to either readdress or touch on. But yeah, I think that what we've talked about so far really wraps up. I don't know if you're frozen or not.
No, I'm not frozen. I was just
Really,
smiling really hard. I just
yeah, it really wraps it up. There's a couple other things like showing appreciation and gratitude, which I think is that's a really really important thing for living intentionally as well, and just keeping us like very centered and in that. I don't know. I want to say like positive mindset, but it just sounds so like generic, and I don't know if that's the right word that I wanted to go for. But in that
mm-mm.
space of authenticity, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's knowing that life conspires in your favor, knowing
Yeah.
that there's more to know. And so while your mind may judge this thing as a bad thing, which then makes you feel bad, you don't even have not enough knowledge to know if the thing that you're calling or labeling bad is actually bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, gratitude. And then there's another point about like spending time. This might be slightly outdated, but on the phone, on your phone, scrolling on your phone or television. This is something I've been seeing a lot more. Maybe it's for a reason, but um, just like limiting the information that comes at you. The news, the news feed, all the things that are there to just suck your attention and keep you hooked. And being intentional with that, I think, could be one of the biggest things, one of the biggest small but impactful things that you do.
which requires you to understand why you do that, which
Yeah.
I would ask you to ask yourself and be honest with yourself and ask yourself if you're listening to all of those things so you drown out the sound of your own voice
Yeah.
because you don't
Is it
enjoy
an
being with
avoidance?
yourself.
Yeah. Is it an avoidance? Is it just the literal like addiction to those? Because we know that like scrolling through news feeds gives you dopamine hits and you just literally become like addicted to it. Yeah. Question first, I think having awareness of how much of that you're consuming, how much of your day it takes up, um, and then asking yourself why that is. And is that, I think most of us can pretty easily say that that's not in alignment with our values and our goals and is not an action that is helping us get to that point. So, yeah, attention diets, even just limiting the news that you are taking in, getting rid of that Facebook feed, even if it's just for a week. Like, give yourself a break.
I say
Try it
subtraction is,
out. Try it out.
yeah, subtraction, dopamine. So they're going on dopamine fast, but
Mm-hmm.
addition is has always been historically easier than subtraction. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can subtract those things, but I would encourage you to add something else. Because if you add like reading a book into the schedule and
Yes.
you've already telling yourself, I don't have time,
Mm-hmm.
then that means you're going to have to squeeze something else out.
Yeah. What I like to do, well, what I have done actually recently is I have my Kindle app on my phone as well. So I have a Kindle, but I have the Kindle app. And then instead of, like, say, when I take a lunch break, instead of scrolling through Facebook, I just read one of the books that I'm reading instead. So
Mm.
I'm still, I'm consuming something, which is the habit of sitting there and consuming and scrolling through it, but it's something that actually is beneficial to me. So,
I will wash
fun tip.
dishes. Yes, I will wash dishes and do chores and listen to audiobooks the entire
Yeah,
time.
audiobooks or podcasts, things like, yeah, I often listen to podcasts when I'm cooking. Yeah,
Precisely.
yeah,
And
that kind
again,
of thing.
these things, know that it's not I do this one time, yay, I did
Hmm.
good. Why don't I know everything when I wake up tomorrow?
Yeah.
Whatever you choose to do. Thank you again, LSU. If anybody from LSU is looking at the show, thank you for inviting When Harry Met Daphne. My other podcast is with my partner Daphne Olivier. When Harry Met Daphne, we were invited to LSU to do a CU event to the social workers there, and I think it was like 130 or so people signed up. But thank you again. And so we were listening. The topic was self care, and one of the things that when we made a big list, one of the things that it said was like, go ride a bike or make a bed and this and that. And people see these lists and they're like, great, okay, yeah, I'll go make my damn bed, whatever, and this and that. Making your bed and providing order in your life will cause you to, it will improve your mood and give you clarity, but it's a lifestyle. Making your bed is a lifestyle. Brushing your teeth is a lifestyle. Riding a bike is a lifestyle. Reading papers is a lifestyle. Reading books is a lifestyle. Learning is a lifestyle. Like everything that you choose to do, whatever you choose to do, know that you're choosing to do it as a lifestyle, as a practice that you do intentionally every day. You can't halfway life. If you halfway do it, then you get halfway results, and then you end up all the way frustrated. Choose. Don't straddle the fence. Don't sometime it. Don't choose something and then stick with it. That's the way that you develop mastery. It don't matter whether you are a black belt in martial arts or whether you're good at baking pies like Mary Callender. When you master something, when you master anything, you begin to tap into the same truth that every other person that has mastered or has moved into that place of self mastery has understood. I'm pretty sure Mary Calendar or whoever to make them pies, if I'm saying it correctly, I'm pretty sure she can tell me some pretty philosophical things and it go just as deep as Plato or Aristotle or anybody else. So I don't care. The master being a circus clown if you want, but just choose something and master it. Stick with it. Success is an endurance game. No, you're not going to feel like doing it every time. But if you know that it represents who you are, if it represents the truth about you, that you are in the going, moving in the right direction, then don't dance. Don't straddle. Don't go back and forth with it. That creates stagnation, and then you're in this space of emotional purgatory where you're no longer living. You're merely existing. Choose something, and then move towards it. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right
Become a
now.
master. Go all in. Stop dipping your toes.
Yes. No dipping of the toes. I mean, you can dip your
Dabbling.
toe.
Dabbling
Dip.
is for
You could
ducks,
just
y'all.
exact dabbling. Don't be a dabbling duck. Dipping and dabbling ducks.
Yeah, be a diving duck. Go all the way.
Yeah, don't dibble and dabble. Just go on and dive on in.
Yeah. Yeah, like a loon. Loons aren't ducks, though. Dipping.
So look, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode because this is gonna be the last one for a minute. You know what I mean? I don't know if we're gonna bring it back or whatever. I just really this is an opportunity for me to really, us really to introduce ourselves and for people to understand how my Looney Tune mind works. And so, was asked a question was designed for that. Just to, it wouldn't meant to be going on long, maybe 3 or 4 episodes. I think we may have done like what 8 now, something like that, 7 or 8.
Yeah,
We did a
something
bunch of
like
them.
that. Something
Yeah.
like that. And hopefully, all of this has been helpful for people. Coming from my perspective of not being a mental health professional and being newer, definitely newer to the idea of shadow work. Um, yeah, hopefully my questions
Which
made
y'all
some
will.
sense. My camera is really blurry. Okay, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah, what I will say
yeah,
is that you will see more events though. We have Miss Sublet, anti-racism activist, and so
mm-hmm.
real soon I'm gonna reach out to her. I maybe I should have reached out to her before I said her name, but I'm gonna reach out to her and schedule an event with a couple other I'm really informed individuals or woke,
Yeah.
as they say, but actually woke. I don't even like using that word. But
It unfortunately got kind of ruined this past year, I think.
yes,
You
yes,
used to be able to be woke, but now you need a new word.
yeah. I'm a space cadet. I'm inviting a few other space cadets, like myself, and we're gonna politic about anti-racism and how to be an anti-racism activist. I'm not an anti-racism activist, but I do,
Yeah.
anti-racist. I take that posture. So, and also just, talk about life in general and how to move through these limited classifications that we design to give credence to this illusion that we're separate.
Mm-hmm.
There's no separateness. There's no black and white. It's not even really any male and female. It's just us experiencing us. And the sooner that we realize that, the sooner we can stop pointing and blaming and trying to hurt one another and figure this thing out and raise our vibration up, raise our frequency up, and paint a new vision and
Yeah.
experience that unity, love, compassion, truth, safety, freedom,
Yeah.
liberation. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you got to say?
Definitely more events to come. So keep an eye out. We have the shadow work course almost ready. You can actually sign up for the wait list for it right now. And if you do that, you would get a nice little discount code in your email for signing up early. So,
Shut up.
yeah. So that is at becomeanoutlier.com/shadowwork, all one word. Um, you can sign up for the waitlist there, and we'll be launching that very, very soon. It's so close to being ready. We're just putting the finishing touches on all of it. So close. Um, just to give you an idea, though, of what's in there, we have it's an 8 chapter kind of guided audio done by Harry. You get the shadow work ebook, all the updates to that as those come out. And then there's like 5 guided meditations in there. We'll have a recommended reading list for you. So it's going to be really, really nice, in depth. And like Harry was saying, like if you're going to do this stuff, which you should, not to should on people, but it's obviously very valuable. And we've talked a ton about why. Yeah, this is something that you can go through kind of a combination of self-paced, but also having that guidance and that expertise. And there will be also an opportunity for those who want to work really closely for an 8-week self-mastery program, which is also almost done. Yeah. So good stuff coming.
Big things. So we have
becomingmylarry.com/shadowwork. If you're interested in that and want to find out more, we'll be sending out the kind of the overview, sales page, all that stuff very, very soon.
Yes. So big things happening over here at the School of Outliers.
Yeah.
And be looking out 2020. We are coming out there.
2020.
And as I come up,
2022.
I mean 2022. Lord have mercy. I went back to 2022. 2022. Yeah. 2022. Yeah, but whatever it is, it don't even matter what year it is. All I know is it's on and popping. We taking these wheels off the ground, you know what I'm saying? And understand that the planes fly against the wind, not with it. And resistance, baby.
Get on that wait list.
Yes, resistance. Yes. So look, y'all are gonna get you're gonna get me, and also be looking out for all the products that Hannah said, and more to come. The ebook is already out. The updated version is about to be released. Meditation subscription, that's out there. About to have a full suite. What? And we're 2022 is going to bring in. What I was going to say is that we're going to have other teachers. I want to talk to you about that. Bring in other, teachers as well to the School of Outliers, because after all, it is a school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe even retreat. Well, I don't even want to say maybe. There's definitely.
Oh no, the retreat is happening next year. When Harry
coming, there's lots coming down the pipeline. So.
Oh yeah.
Right now, what we have to support you is meditations, which is like such a good deal. It's really, really good deal for what you get. So go check that out. Check out the book. And if you're interested in having some guidance and support and really diving deeper into shadow work, then definitely get on that wait list for the shadow work course and maybe even the self-mastery program. It's going to be real good.
Hey, and for you entrepreneurs out there, let me say this last thing before we head out. If you want fans, if you desire people to see you and acknowledge you, you have to see yourself and acknowledge yourself. So I subscribe to my meditation. I purchased my ebook. You know what? And I'm damn proud of it. And you got to be. Even if you are your only fan, you make sure that you love you and that you love what you're putting out there. All right? So that's just the last little tidbit.
This stuff is so valuable for entrepreneurs. We do actually have an entrepreneur group as well, just to throw that out there. That's going to be like, we're going to be putting a lot of like doing some trainings and things like that in that group, and talking to people in there specifically about authenticity and entrepreneurship, because that's like hot topic, but also so important.
Yes.
You're out here, you're being seen, you gotta be authentic.
Gotta keep it 100.
Gotta keep it real.
Gotta keep it a stack. All right, y'all. Yo, thank y'all. Appreciate it. I'm gonna let the live is gonna stay. Are we getting off here? We getting out of here, but the live is gonna stay on because I want to put the branding up here so y'all see that understanding offer that Hannah was talking about. But I'm gonna let it roll for about 60 seconds after we get out. But again, thank y'all for watching this mini series. Mad love and respect. Y'all still gonna have events, so be on the lookout. We still gonna do live shows, but we have some things moving around. All right, we shift, we move with life, we flow with it. All right. And Hannah, thank you again for being the amazing host that you are.
Oh, thanks for dealing with my brain fog. Some days I think last week I like really had a lot of good nuggets, and this week it is what it is. So
I've never been feeding another life, so I have no idea what that's like. So
day by day.
Day by day. Gotcha. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this up and y'all check it out, but I'm putting on some music too. Some good music. Aha, good stuff.